Hello everyone. So we will continue talking about more non-gel based proteomic approaches, and this is the third one. It's called isotope-coded affinity tags. In this method, in fact, earlier we have seen that proteomic studies can be done using gel-free methods also, and on those gel-free methods we have seen that the label-free quantification and 2D chromatography in form of mud pit we have talked in earlier lectures. In this lecture we'll talk about a labeling method which is used to label proteins and then separate the proteome, and this one is isotope-coded affinity tag, which is based on cysteine binding. So this isotope-coded affinity tag ICAT reagent is a chemical group which is made up of three components. The one component is a biotin group here. A biotin group. The biotin is vitamin B7 which has very strong affinity to egg white protein called avidin. So avidin and biotin, they strongly associate together. In fact, the binding constant is pretty high. That's a 10 to the power minus 15 molar. So when you allow the reaction between avidin protein and biotin, so biotin and avidin form a very strong complex. So that's how, in fact, for purification of compounds, the compounds, if is labeled with biotin, avidin is used in the stationary phase of affinity column, and that's called biotin-Avidin Affinity Chromatography. So this biotin is basically used for purification using avidin in stationary phase of affinity column. Then the second part of this reagent, ICAT reagent, is a thiol reactive group. Is iodoacetamide. Iodoacetamide has a property to react with the free thiol group, like in cysteine in proteins. So when cysteine is there and iodoacetamide is allowed to react, it forms S-carboxymethylated cysteine. It's covalently linking reaction. It's covalently linked to the free cysteine. That's a property of iodoacetamide. Now these two groups in ICAT reagent, they are connected through a linker region, and this linker has 8 replaceable hydrogen positions. So these 8 positions you can have either H1 or H2. So in that way you will have two type of tags. In one tag you have 8 position H1, and the second is called light tag. In the second tag, this instead of H1 you can have deuterium H2, the isotope of hydrogen, so that will be heavy tag. So heavy and light tag, they are identical except they both have a mass difference of 8 Dalton. Now, how do you use it? Remember, our objective here is to compare proteins from two states of a sample. For example, you have a normal liver tissue and a diseased liver tissue or a drug-treated liver tissue, and we want to see here the difference in proteins expression in both the states, the normal and the diseased one. So what we'll do, we'll follow the same protocol. First we'll extract proteins from sample A and the sample B simultaneously and independently. And after extraction of proteins, you label proteins from sample A with the light ICAT tag, whereas protein from sample B you label with heavy ICAT tag. And then you mix the proteins from sample A and sample B. In fact, you see here for representation only 2 proteins and 3 proteins here are shown, but actually there are 10,000s of proteins in the proteome. So there are many proteins, almost more than 10,000 in each sample, which after labeling independently with heavy and light ICAT, you combine them together, you mix them together, and then you do proteolysis. Proteolysis by using enzymes, because enzymes are highly specific like trypsin. So, and when you treat with the protease, you will get a large number of peptides. Now those peptides are all mixed together. And for example, you imagine you have a protein, and that protein contains a single cysteine group. And when you treat that with light or heavy ICAT reagent, you will see that only one peptide will be labeled after proteolysis. There will be many peptides from all the proteins which are not labeled. So your next objective here is to enrich only labeled peptides from both the samples. And for that, you remove all the peptides which are unlabeled, And in order to do so, you use a biotin Avidin affinity chromatography. You use a affinity column where Avidin protein is immobilized in the stationary phase, and when you load this peptide mixture on the top of that column, only this heavy and light ICAT reagent, because those two contain biotin group, those are bound to the avidin. Unlabeled peptide, they pass through the column and you discard them. Now in the column you have only biotin containing peptide bound to the stationary phase. You do elution from the chromatography using free biotin or by changing pH, and only you have enriched labeled peptides with you. Now those labeled peptides you run mass spectroscopy. You send it to MS, and when you send it to MS, you will get large number of peaks in MS, large number, because there are 10,000s of proteins and every protein is now fragmented into peptides, and those peptides are very large in number, so you will get large number of peaks of peptides in MS. Now how do you identify which peaks are coming from sample A and from sample B? You imagine a single protein which are present in sample A and sample B. It's a common protein, because you are not comparing here entirely different tissues. You are comparing in proteomics a same tissue in two different states. A normal state, a normal tissue, and a disease tissue, for example. So in that case, most of the protein would remain same. So remember, just think of a protein which is common in sample A and sample B, and that protein has only one peptide which contains cysteine, and that peptide is detected here. And you will get two peaks of that peptide, one slightly higher molecular weight, another one lesser molecular weight. Now how do you see which which peak is coming from sample A and sample B? Remember, sample A peptide was tagged with light ICAT reagent, sample B protein were tagged with heavy ICAT reagent. So same peptide coming from sample A and sample B will have mass difference of 8 Dalton only. So in that way, from the complex spectra, mass spectra, two peaks which have mass difference of 8 Dalton, the lower mass peak would be coming from sample A, the higher mass would be coming from sample B. That's how from this complex MS spectra you can locate which are the peaks coming from sample A and sample B. No, you look at one peak only. So this is one peptide peak, and you see here the mass difference between these two peaks is say 8 Dalton. So this lower mass peak would be coming from sample A, whereas this higher mass would be coming from sample B. So what difference do you see here? See, this peak coming from A is larger in size. It has high intensity. It has high peak area, whereas this peak coming from sample B is small. That simply means these two peaks are coming from the same peptide from sample A and sample B. In sample A, the peak area is high. It means in sample A, this peptide is present in high concentration in comparison to sample B. So this is a very remarkable information, that you know that this peptide is overexpressed in sample A. Simply the protein which is coming, the peptide is coming from whichever protein that is present is overexpressed in sample A in comparison to sample B. So your next objective would be to identify which is this protein or which is this peptide in fact. So you will take this peak and you will send it to MS for fragmentation and identification, sequencing. So you will get sequence of this peptide, and after knowing the sequence you can search in database and find out which protein it belongs to. So you infer from here that this protein X is overexpressed in state A, sample A, in comparison to sample B. Now this ICAT has many advantages, like its accurate quantification and labeling, reduced complexity, because reduced complexity in the sense that because you hydrolyze proteins and only the labeled peptides are enriched, so the complexity in that case is reduced. You have less number of peptides to be analyzed. It is highly sensitive and it has very high coverage also. Broad applicability. and there is no gel electrophoresis required. It's a gel-free method. It has versatile application, well suited for determining change in protein expression levels in disease research and drug target identification. The only limitation with the ICAT technique is it has a cysteine bias. It can only tag to the cysteine amino acid. If a protein does not contain cysteine, that will miss detection here. So that's the only big disadvantage you have with ICAT technique of gel-free proteomic studies. The technique primarily provides relative rather than absolute quantification. The quantification of protein is also relative. It's not absolute quantification what you get in ICAT.